how exciting. Lucky number 7. Okay. Hello there, my name is Jonathan and I am a knitter living in London currently, and this is my knitting podcast, which comes from the world of Jonathan's days. This is episode 7, which is very exciting. Feels like good to be really into the swing of things, and it's not going to be as long as last week's episode, which ended up being very feature length. So if you stayed through almost 90 minutes of that, well done. And I know it was a lot of yarn, but I've got 2 FOs today, so we're getting through it, and I only have 2 acquisitions, so only a small bit of a top off to the stash. First of all, let me talk about what I'm wearing. This is my Moonwhistle Shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's made in a West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft and Spin Cycle, and I spoke about this 2 or 3 episodes ago, and it would have been a whip as well. So it's a really, really nice garter and slip stitch shawl. I tend to wear it like this at home, just like draped over my shoulders. It's really nice now that it's getting a bit colder to just like keep your shoulders warm. And Andrea Mowry shared it on her Instagram story this week, which was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it that she shared a post of mine and said that these were some of her favorite colors. So that really made my week. So I thought it would be fitting to show it off once again and recommend the pattern. It's a super beginner friendly pattern. It's like worsted weight, so it's a really massive, chunky, warm shawl. So perfect for this time of year, and perfect if you want a really simple, fun project just to enjoy rather than something like really, really complicated. So that's the Moonwhistle Shawl. I'm going to start with jumping all over the place. Normally, you start with FOs and whips and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to start with whips. First whip is what I spoke about last week. You would have seen the swatch. Here's the swatch. Still remember it? Yes. Here's the swatch. And then here is my progress on the Ankers Sweater. Let me bring it up a bit closer so you can see. So I've finished the yoke, which is like a ribbed pattern, and I've got one sleeve about 2/3 of the way done. It is knit out of Sandnes Garn Pure Gynt, which this is the yarn that's recommended in the pattern. If it will focus for you, there you go. It's like a nice mustard yellow color, which like in the evening looks kind of like a darker green brown, but in the like nice sunlight it's more of a mustard yellow. And it is color 2035. I don't think it has a name. It's a DK 100% wool, non-superwash Norwegian wool. It's really squishy and nice. Definitely, because I've washed and blocked this swatch, it's definitely, you can feel the difference between the fabric once it's been blocked. It's much softer, but I like that it's kind of like a structured, strong 100% wool, because I am, wearing my knits and running around London and the world with them, as you'll hear. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Okay, first of all, I love it. I'm so excited to like get it done, especially now that I've kind of finished the yoke and into kind of the stockinette section, so you can really see the contrast between the ribbing and the stockinette. It makes it look really, really nice. And so you can see when I kind of hold it up, it like has a weird shape because it is ribbing, but then when you wear it, it kind of like stretches over your shoulders like that. And it just looks really, really nice. I'm making the extra, so this actually is the my boyfriend's size version. It's not the normal version. So I think there's the kids version, the boyfriend size, and the regular version. So this, I believe, just has been formatted for a more masculine fit, whatever that means. I don't know. I don't have the kind of regular version, so maybe there's bust shaping or something in that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so this is the extra small version. Which doesn't leave me with a huge amount of positive ease, but I don't really like to wear my jumpers with a lot of positive ease anyway, so for me it's fine. Also, when I look at the example like image on the pattern, it is quite like a loose fit, so I did want it to be like more fitted. So yeah, and like with this, you're kind of unless you go really, really big, you're kind of guaranteed that the yoke will fit really, really well because it is ribbing. So it like pulls in and makes a really, really nice shape, as you know, it's just obvious that it would do that. So I love the design. I am so excited to get it done. I haven't made any modifications. I think the only modification I made was that I did on the underarm, I did a cable cast on instead of a backwards loop, which is kind of most top down jumpers, when you kind of split for the sleeves and the body, they say to do a backwards loop cast on for the stitches that you're missing to kind of close the gap. So I did cable cast on, which is my first time doing that kind of cast on, and it was actually, I think, the grocery girls, Jodie and Tracy, who recommended that. So I'm trying that, and that's the only modification. On the point of modifications, one modification that I still probably can do it, which isn't included in the pattern, is there's no short row shaping in the pattern. So that means that the neck will be the same front and back. Now I don't know if that's because of like this yoke, and I don't know how it would look to kind of pull up the back. So this is the back. But so I don't know if that's kind of a conscious decision or if it's just something they didn't include. My very first jumper I ever made didn't have short row shaping, but every single one since then has, and it's kind of something that I really want in my jumpers. But we'll see how it goes. But it's just one of those things where I'm kind of like, ooh, if it's like a paid for jumper pattern, I would assume that they would include short row shaping. I don't know, it might be specifically designed. This is only my like second petite knit. Oh, this is by Petite Knit, did I mention that? This is only my second petite knit pattern. The first one that I haven't finished yet is the market bag, and they're like a super prominent designer, so maybe it's for a reason, but it was just one of those things that I was like, I wish they'd included that calculation for us as well to do short rows. But I digress. I don't digress, it's what I'm here to talk about. So yes, so overall I'm enjoying it a lot, really excited for the final product. You'll obviously spot that I'm doing the sleeve first. This is something that I did kind of on my Beauceron. I did kind of half the body and then did the two sleeves and then finished the body. So that's what I'm doing here, and I think it would be like better mentally for me to like, you know, have the sleeves done and then get the body done, and then you're done. So apart from blocking, so yeah, so I've been enjoying it. I tried it on yesterday, and the yoke fits great, and the sleeves feel good. They're not too tight, which is kind of what I was nervous about with doing the smallest size, and yeah, so I can't wait to have it done. I think I should have it done by the next episode. I'm kind of blasting through it. I will say the yoke, so you know when you do ribbing on sleeves and like the bottom of the body or even the neckline, you're like, oh god, I can't wait for the ribbing to be done, like blah blah blah. This entire yoke, as you can see, is ribbing. It's 1x1 ribbing. Well, not ribbing, it's 1x1 patterning. So the rows, I mean, obviously these rows down here end up being the longest rows of the entire garment, and they're all 1x1 rib. So if you absolutely detest 1x1 rib, you know, get emotionally prepared before you do this pattern. But I'm really excited about it. I will say the pattern, I wouldn't say it's a beginner pattern, and I mean that because it doesn't really hold your hand. I think there's really good patterns out there that really kind of take you through the steps of like constructing your first garment better, I guess. But like, I think if you could do this as your first ever sweater pattern, I don't think it's overly complicated, but I also think that the pattern kind of assumes you know how to construct a top-down garment. You know, it's pretty straightforward and just goes straight through it. There are some parts that they like include videos that you can help you along, but it doesn't hold your hand necessarily. I think it would be a fantastic like second or third, because you really would be more confident in the entire construction. The other thing I would say is they don't like, they don't really include recommendations for like the cast on and stuff like that, or do they? I think they don't, because I just ended up doing a long tail, and I probably should have learned a German twisted, or if I really wanted to, I should have like figured out how to do a tubular for this amount of stitch rows, but I was just too lazy. I just wanted to get it on the needles and get it done. I feel like this is going to be like a very basic, you know, wear a lot, throw around the place kind of sweater. So that's where I'm at with it. I sound like I'm being really negative on it, but I do love it. And I do recommend it a lot. So can't wait to get it finished. Once I do get to the body, because I think the body is just straight down without any shaping, so I am going to check and measure that to see if I do want to do some decreases in on my like waist. But we'll see. If I'm going for that fitted look, I might as well go all out. So yeah, so that's my Ankers Sweater, my boyfriend size by Petite Knit. And I absolutely love it. So that's like the main whip. The other whip, I'm not going to speak too much about because I've shown it so many times. This is my lunchtime sock knitting, and I'm just about at the ribbing of the second sock. And what I will say about it is thank you to everyone from the last episode where we were talking about casting off on a toe-up sock, which is at the, you know, the top of the sock. I can't even think. Cuff, there you go. At the cuff of the sock. And I had so many suggestions for cast-offs that are like better than the one I attempted last time. And it's funny, this episode, a lot of my projects, I've been in sync with other podcasters. So Laura from The Knitting Pickle, who I talk about all the time, if you go back and watch her episode 10, I think, she has the exact same conversation that I had in my previous episode about the cuff of the sock. So we're really in sync like that, Laura. But yeah, so thank you. There's been so many suggestions to try. So I think I'm going to try a different one on the cuff of this sock. And I've made a list. I'll probably might make a list and then make it a blog post on my website, so that other people can see what everyone else shared, and we can figure out what's the best of them all. Some people even like wrote out the instructions. It was so nice. So thank you so much, everyone. The one I think I'm going to try on this, someone said to try the surprisingly stretchy cast off, which is the one I normally would do, but do it backwards so that the row of stitches that's created is on the inside. So instead of that flare, it goes in. So I think that's what I might try on this sock and see how we get along. And this yarn is Mondim, and I was talking about like my recipe to figure out if I can get 2 pairs out of 100 gram, and I have tons left over and I'm nearly at the ribbing. So I need to figure out how I can get maybe 2 pairs of socks, or a long pair of socks and pair of shorties out of 100 gram ball. But I just wanted to touch on that briefly and say thank you for all the suggestions on the cast-offs. I really appreciate it, and I'll be trying them all, because as you know me, there's always socks, and yeah, I've got a fair amount of sock yarn coming in the post in the next couple of months. So I gotta get going on the socks. So let's jump over to finished objects, and this next one, I spoke about it as an idea possibly in episode 1 or 2 if you've been a long time listener, and I cast this on before I went home to Ireland, which I've told you in my previous episode that I was going home to Ireland to visit my family, because I'm from there. And so I cast this on as kind of my like travel knitting, essentially. I did bring the sock as well, but I cast this on, and I enjoyed it so much because I live in London. If you take the tube out to Heathrow, it's like a good hour journey where you're sat there on the Piccadilly line, and at the perfect place just to do like a bunch of stockinette. And it was even like I wanted stockinette that I didn't need to count the rows for, because I'm quite strict about counting the rows on my socks because I want the fit to be correct. But this project I didn't need to, and I must have finished it in about 2 weeks. And so it is, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it is the Musselburgh Hat. People say Musselburgh, but I believe it's Musselburgh. like Edinburgh, Musselburgh. Anyway, this is by Isolde Teague. This is a super popular pattern, and this is the other like podcast sync. Everything I think I've made has been really in sync with other people, because I do believe there's also a knit along going on for the Ankers Sweater, and I think there's a knit along going on for this as well. But I was watching Chevy Rell's stuff. Chevis, she's also made a Musselburgh for the first time, and so if you watch her, I'm going to probably be talking the same way she has been about it, and in the reverse, because she spoke about how she made the adult medium size and wants to try making the adult large, and I made the adult large and I want to try making the adult medium. So this is the adult medium. If you've never seen, I'm sure you've seen this before. Oh my god, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Musselburgh, blah, blah, blah. So it's a big worm that you make and it's closed at both ends, and then you take one end and stuff it inside the other, which makes your doubled fabric, and that makes your hat. And then you can even turn the edge up like that. And I will try it on for you. There you go. Now, I made this out of what I said I would. It is, the dark grey is Garthenor Preseli, which I had left over from my kinship shawl, and it is in the colour Heron. And then this lighter grey is Hedgehog Fibers Cashmere Merino in the colour Crystal, and I got that at Beautiful Knitters here in London, and so quite a few months ago I got it, and I'm like very proud of myself for actually like, first of all, like stash busting by finishing off this grey Preseli. I have a tiny bit left, but I'm happy that I like finished that off and got it out of my stash and onto my head, and that I used this lovely Hedgehog Fibers, which is fitting because I was, you know, knitting with Hedgehog Fibers at home in Cork, and it's from Cork, so it was quite cool. I was really happy to be like doing that. So I didn't get a chance to actually go to Hedgehog Fibers because I was there over a weekend, and I don't think they're open over the weekend, and even then with like COVID and everything, I didn't want to like turn up. So maybe next time I'm home during like a weekday and when things are a bit more open and safer, I will drop an email and ask if I could go visit Hedgehog Fibers. But for now, I was just knitting with it, and I couldn't have been happier with it. This is like 50% cashmere, 50% merino, and my plan was always to do this. So when you make it, usually you just make it with one yarn, but I wanted to do this half and half. So A, it would be reversible, but so B, that it would be essentially be lined with the merino or the cashmere and merino, so that your ears are nice and toasty and warm. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. So really the Garthenor is there, it gives it like the stability and the warmth, because the Garthenor is like non-superwash, organic, 100% wool, absolutely amazing. You guys know that I love it. And then inside is like a super soft, fluffy cashmere and merino. So you can see. Super simple. You will also see that it's got little brown or grey nubbin at the end, because I ran out of the Hedgehog Fibers, but it's quite cool. You can see the kind of lovely difference and contrast between the two yarns. So I couldn't be happier. I also held the Hedgehog Fibers double because it is a heavy lace weight is what they say it is, but it's still a lace weight, so I held it double, and it matched the gauge perfectly, but you can obviously tell there's like, you know, it's way drapier than the other one. But such a joy, fun knit. It was great because you know, I could just sit there on while I was traveling, or just at home when I was talking to my family, and it was a perfect like stockinette project to knit away on, and I'm just like so happy with it. In fact, I was going to film this podcast yesterday, but I wanted to finish this first so I could show it to you. Rather than just showing you an almost finished hat like 2 weeks or 2 podcasts in a row, I just wanted to get it done and show you. This is actually a gift. This is for my partner. He gets cold in the winter and gets very cold ears. And last year, was it last year or the year before, I did get him a cashmere hat. This was before I was really back into knitting. And he actually a hole formed in it. So I was like, I'm going to make you one. And it couldn't be toastier and warmer. And I'm absolutely obsessed with the pattern. So much so that I'll probably, Karen, or if any of you are watching from Beautiful Knitters, I'm going to be over soon to get some more in a different color for me and make another one for myself. So I'll probably try making this fits perfectly fine, but I will try the slightly smaller size to see how we get on. I didn't knit it as long as they say in the pattern, partly because I know my boyfriend wouldn't like a very thick folded brim, and I also wanted to be careful that I had enough of the Hedgehog Fibers to finish it. And then the last thing is that when I was home, my mom did a couple of rows on the hat as well. So it was really fun because my mom's been knitting as well. And she did a couple of rows in this so that my boyfriend has a row from my mom as well. So I thought it was really nice to have another row from someone else that loves you knitting something that's a gift to take care of you. And so that was really, really fun and nice. And what I will also mention about my mom, and I'm going to take out my straight needles to demonstrate. So my mom knits lever style, I believe it is. So basically I knit like this. So I hold my needles like this, but she has her right needle is up like this. And as we're both like throwers, English style, but she holds it like this, and like I can't even emulate it. She flicks with her finger, and then this needle rests like almost like a pencil, whereas most of us knit like this. So it was quite cool. That was the way they were taught in school, and I think it's called lever knitting. And then also like I know it's the style that like they can do with the belt, because they can hold it here or like have it on a belt, and the right needle doesn't move, and so it means you can go faster because you're flicking like this. You're not taking your hand off like we do. Like we have to, I always hold both needles in my left and then wrap, whereas so you're taking your hand off the needle. It was just very interesting. There's a fabulous video by Sweet Georgia discussing it and talking all about it, and it's very interesting, so I highly recommend it. It was just interesting to see that that's how she knits, and she's different to me because obviously I'm taught from the internet, not from her. So that was really fun. My mom is making things for my little niece and nephew, and so we went yarn shopping as well together, and I will talk about that in a second. But finally, so that was Musselburgh. Final FO. Let me remove one shawl in order to talk about it, because it's finished, you guys. It's finished. Da, 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 da. Here it is, all done, all blocked, all beautiful. This is my Opus shawl by Max the Knitter. It's done, and here you go. Oh my god, it looks so cool, doesn't it? So this is done. I was pretty close to being done, I think, the last episode, and I often hit a shawl wall, but I didn't with this, which is fantastic. I really kind of like gained momentum as I got closer, even though the rows were getting longer and longer and longer. I really enjoyed kind of getting closer to the end, and I just wanted to get it like off the needles and wear it because it's absolutely fantastic. I couldn't be happier with it. So it was done before I actually went to Ireland, so I got to wear it, like on the plane and stuff like that, and so it was a perfect garment to have because it's made in Walcot yarns Opus, which is why it's called the Opus Shawl, and it couldn't be like cozier and warmer and softer. And you guys know I love Max's designs. I can't stop talking about him. 100 of his designs in my queue, blah blah blah. And I don't know if this was deliberate, maybe it was, but everyone talks about how gorgeous like the design and this pattern is and how cool it is, how funky it is. But the real star of the Opus shawl is the inside, where the floats are, and they look cool. But let me tell you, like this side, the right side is like soft and nice. The inside is like crazy soft. It's crazy, crazy, crazy soft. And like this is why I'm like, is this a design feature that he thought of? Because obviously the inside is what's kind of touching you. And because the floats are carried, instead of like, you've got long strands of the yarn just lying there, I think it like creates maximum softness. It's probably the best way I could describe it. So it's so soft and so nice to wear. I've mostly been, when I was traveling, I was mostly wearing, I think I've realized that I do like wearing them over my shoulders. I like the way the kind of stripes line up when you wear it over your shoulders. It is a, like, it's not a exact triangle, I guess I would say. It's because you only increase one side. It's a right-handed, oh yeah, that's what it is, right-handed triangle. Yeah. So, it's not like even, but even though that's okay. Like even when I wear it over my shoulders, it looks almost even. What else did I want to say to you guys about it? Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm really excited about wearing it. I probably did mention, you do change colors pretty often, so there was a lot of ends to weave in, but I did the weave and Steven technique where you kind of wrap it as you go, and that way at the end I could just, once I blocked it, I just could snip them off. And I will say that this yarn is so toothy, but not in a like rustic way, but in like, it really does grab onto each other. So I was super confident just like snipping the woven in ends like pretty close to like pretty close, you know, because you're always kind of nervous when you snip an end, like, okay, if it's too close, it will just fall through and unravel. But because this, like, you could tell, like, even sometimes when I had to like knit backwards, like the stitches were already felting together. So I felt pretty confident. They were felting together, so I felt pretty confident that I could snip them close. I'll just do another. So this is the beautiful floats. This is the pattern, which is wonderful. I will, oh, colors, oh god, I forget the colors. Pink is Love Potion, white is Splash White, black is black, and the grey is charcoal, he says with confidence, but that might be wrong. Or is it, I don't know. I've got the thing will be up on the on the screen that will verify the colors. After this episode, I'm going to go for brunch, and on the way I'm going to take some pictures of it because the Opus Cal is going on, and I think it finishes today or the 12th. Today, I'm shooting this on the 10th, so whenever this goes up. But then it will be I think it's the 12th. So you can either join in on Ravelry or Instagram. So if you're nearly there, go for it and get it done. And regardless, it's an absolutely amazing pattern, and I highly recommend both the yarn and the pattern. So yeah, this is the Opus finished. So this is the last time you'll see it, unless I'm just randomly wearing it. But yeah, super happy with it. Can't recommend it enough. Go out, try the yarn, try the pattern. It's wonderful. Okay, and then the last couple of bits, I'll leave this, oh, will I leave this on? I'll leave it on. The last couple of bits, one is, oh, well, there are two acquisitions, but not stash acquisitions. So, as I said, I went to the yarn shop with my mom. She wanted to get some more yarn herself, and I wanted to get her some new needles because most of her needles were plastic, and I wanted to get her some to try some different needles. So we got some of the Knit Pro, like the rainbow wooden ones, to try to make some hats that she wanted to make, and the pattern was written in the round, so it was to try those. So we went, so Cork where I'm from doesn't have like a dedicated yarn shop anymore. I think there used to be years ago, but not anymore. And so we went to this place called Vibes and Scribes, which is, there's two locations. One is like a bookshop and art supplies, and then the other is like a craft store. So it has like sewing materials, like all that jazz. And then down in the basement is the yarn section. So it is like one of those like Aladdin's caves, but like, you know, overflowing with yarn, and I think there's only like one person working there, and it was so busy when we went there, and there was loads of people, like, you know, there was like a queue to pay, and, you know, loads of people buying yarn, and so it was like amazing that it was so busy, that, you know, people are taking up the craft more. So it was great to see lots of people in there, and I went in there specifically to get some Irish yarn, obviously. And so I picked up, I'd already done a bit of research on this, and I picked up some Irish yarn. Now this yarn is called Yarn Vibes, and I don't know if it's related to Vibes and Scribes. I need to do a bit more research on that to find out. But I got 2 skeins, and they are both worsted weight. So this is the Cliffs of Moher worsted weight. This is in the color Sandstone, and it is, let me tell you, 60. This yarn is made from 60% Irish natural Irish fleece from sheep raised in Irish farms and 40% from New Zealand farms. So it's not this one isn't 100% Irish, but yeah, it's worsted weight, and you can tell it is. You want to talk rustic? Yeah. I should have kept an eye out for like a rusty autumnal color and sent it to Inga, because I think she would be totally up for this. But yeah, so it's super rustic. It's yeah, I thought this was all vegetation, but it's actually part of the yarn. So this is, I don't know what I'd do with this. Maybe a hat or a cowl. I don't think it's not next to Skin Soft. Maybe a hat. But yeah, I really liked this, so I picked up that. And then the other one I picked up is called Glenfield, and this is a more tonal greens and blues, right up my alley. And they had 2 weights of this. I believe the other weight was sport weight, but it was like a single ply, which I am not afraid of, but I'm just kind of like, as I said, like about the Anker, like I do like hard wearing knits, and I feel like the single ply makes things a bit not as strong, I guess. I may be wrong, it might just all be in my mind, but I do kind of want to be careful about single ply if I did get it. So in the end I did get this, which is Glenfield, and this is in the color Glenfield Light. There was 3, like, I think there was light, mid and dark, and it was the same in the other sport weight, and they had some other colorways as well. So I think there was like more of an orangey with the blues and greens, which is really, really nice. And the website is, there isn't a website written here, but it is Yarn Vibes. I'll find it and put it down on the below bar. And this one is 100% Irish wool, and again it's worsted as well. So I was really excited to see this, because it was like, yeah, I just thought it was beautiful. I mean, you know me, guys, this is like right up my alley. So yeah, I'm not sure. I thought they would work together. I mean, always like a neutral will work with any sort of color, and they're both worsted weight, so that's why I went with those. So not a major, I didn't go crazy yarn purchasing. But they did have some Hedgehog Fiber as well. Not a lot. I probably could find a bigger selection of Hedgehog Fiber here in the UK, but I will say that it felt like the yarn selection was more practical, I guess would be the best word. Like, Hedgehog Fibers was probably the most expensive yarn there, and then a lot of it was just like fairly standard. There was a lot of cotton, there was acrylic, all that kind of stuff, which is like, you know, absolutely fine. You know, important to mention this week especially, knitting is for everyone. You know, whatever kind of fiber you want to knit with, go for it. Let's all just enjoy the craft. But it did feel that there wasn't that kind of like, you know, there's obviously so amazing, like Hedgehog Fibers is an example, amazing like hand-dyed yarns, and there's a big variety of yarns out there. So I guess I would love if there was like a, you know, a really big selection focused yarn shop in Cork. But for now, this is knit in Dublin, which I haven't been to, but I need to. And yeah, so if you do go to Cork, I'd say Vibes and Scarves is the place to visit, and definitely check out Yarn Vibes. I think I can't wait to knit with it. I just need to figure out what I want to knit with it. And yeah, so that was what I got in Cork in Vibes and Scribes. And the other thing I got, something a little bit silly, is I got some pom pom makers. I probably am even quoted in a previous episode saying that I'm not into pom poms, but the yarn I got in Barcelona, that blue yarn, the milk yarn, I've got a pattern for that, which someone so kindly sent to me, that I'm definitely going to make, and I'm like, it's dying for a pom-pom, so I had to like get one. And I also think that I have that brioche hat, which I think would look nice with a pom-pom on the top, so I'm going to experiment with these to make some pom-poms, and yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I don't know why I'm so excited about it. And then Kristen from Bullen Vine Yarn, she did like a demonstration about how to make a pom-pom, and so I really enjoyed watching that. So yeah, so stay tuned, and we'll see how I get in the world of pom-poms. And this is by Clover, which is Japanese, I believe. Yeah, and I have tons and tons of Clover stuff, because it's I think you can trust Japanese quality, in my opinion. And yeah, so that's it for this week. I think I think that's it. Not as much as last week's, but I hope that you enjoyed. I'm really happy with this FO. I'm excited for my next sweater. There's lots of, I mean, it must be like, as soon as that chill came in the air, all of the knitting world exploded. So, you know, there's new books coming out that I'm super excited about, new yarns coming out that I'm excited about. I have a lot of stuff coming up. I have some time off in November, so I'm just going to like spend a lot of time knitting. So I'm hopeful that I can get through my queue. I am hopeful that I will finish 6 jumpers by the end of the year. That's kind of my goal, to do 6 in the year, which I think would be a good achievement. So I'm going to go for that. And I want to get a bunch more socks done, and I think I'm in very much a hat mode right now. So I think I'm going to do that hat I just spoke about, and then maybe another Musselburgh hat. And yeah, so lots of exciting stuff to come. Thank you for all your comments, as always. I tried to get back to as many of them as I can. If not, at least I will always like heart them so that you know I've seen them. Thank you for all your suggestions last week about the cast off. Tell me what you're knitting on, as always. Ooh, am I the only person not doing the mystery knit along, the Stephen West mystery knit along? I think I am. I'm the only one not doing it. People have asked me if I'm doing it, and I'm not. I will say about 60%, 70% a product knitter. So for me, not knowing what the product is a bit like, it makes me nervous. And right now I'm really enjoying what I'm knitting. I'm enjoying what's next in my queue, and I'm excited to get onto that. And the mystery knit along, even though I know the community aspect of it and everyone doing it is super enjoyable and super fabulous, because I want to kind of work on the things already on my needles or in my queue first. I didn't want to kind of take that time away from those to spend on the mystery knit along. So, you know, you never know. I might end up making it anyway, like further down the line, or I might join in next year. But I think because right now I'm in such a good mood and really enjoying my knitting where it is, I didn't want to kind of take on a 5-skein Stephen West shawl right now. I think definitely my vibe is on more of the garment knitting and the smaller socks and hats. So that's why I'm not doing it. But I'm very excited for everyone else. I love seeing everyone's colors, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. And people have been very good about not posting it. Like I'm like, show me the spoilers, I want to know. But But yeah, so if you are doing it, good luck. I hope you have fun with it. Stephen West is the best. So I hope you really, really enjoy that. And if you're not working on the Mystery Knit Along, tell me what you're working on. Have you started gift knitting? Obviously, I already started doing my gift knitting with that Musselburgh hat, but I'm going to give it to him right away. So maybe I have to make something else for him for Christmas or the holidays. So if you've already started gift knitting, let me know. I'm happy to hear suggestions from you guys as well. And as always, I never ask you to, but yes, you can like and subscribe. It's great if you do. I'm not really begging you to, or it's not necessary because I just enjoy sharing. But if you want to, go for it. And yeah, you can always find me on Instagram and Ravelry and on my website as well. I'll have some new blog posts coming up soon, and the show notes will be on my website and down below as well. So yeah, don't be a stranger. Let me know how you're going, what you're knitting on, and I will see you in 3 weeks' time. Bye!